What if everything we think we know about the universe is just the surface of a much greater secret? For decades, humanity has believed that the journey to explore space is a noble and transparent mission, yet somewhere in the shadows are stories that have never been revealed. From rumors about the secret Solar Warden space fleet, to corporations allegedly making deals with extraterrestrials, to military bases on Mars, all of these raise questions that remain unanswered. Join us as we uncover the secrets NASA doesn't want you to know in today's video. But first, you'll have incredible luck if you like and subscribe before this video ends. Solar Warden. Throughout the second half of the 20th century, NASA enjoyed the public's trust as a transparent agency, representing humanity's collective dream of exploring the universe. But that trust was shaken to its core in 2002, when a British hacker named Gary McKinnon managed to break into 97 computers belonging to NASA and the US Department of Defense. Gary McKinnon was just an ordinary computer technician, but he was deeply drawn to the mysteries of UFOs and the existence of extraterrestrial life. This curiosity led him to become the world's most wanted hacker at the time. When Gary accessed the secret files, he claimed to have found undeniable evidence of a secret space program called Solar Warden. It was described as a powerful fleet of 48 advanced spacecraft deployed to protect Earth from alien incursions. The information Gary revealed sent the media into a frenzy. According to his account, Solar Warden was a top-secret military project that originated in the 1950s. The program, he said, was created after the US government signed a treaty with extraterrestrials, allowing them to abduct a limited number of humans in exchange for access to advanced military technology. However, the aliens reportedly failed to keep their end of the bargain. When the number of abductions far exceeded the original agreement, the US government was forced to act. That was when Solar Warden was born, as a kind of space border patrol, designed to prevent unauthorized incursions from outside forces. Solar Warden was said to possess technology far beyond anything ever revealed to the public. These spacecraft were engineered for long-term missions in deep space and carried weapons powerful enough to confront any threat from beyond Earth. But the strangest part of the story lay in the way these ships were supposedly built and operated. Some sources claimed that the engineers and scientists of Solar Warden received instructions from aliens through telepathic communication. Even more unbelievable were rumors that the alien representatives involved had links to former members of the Nazi regime. These bizarre details only made the story of Solar Warden more elusive and fiercely debated. Many skeptics wondered if the entire thing was just the product of wild imagination, or perhaps a government disinformation campaign meant to hide an even bigger secret. NASA has never publicly acknowledged the existence of Solar Warden. The documents Gary McKinnon accessed were quickly locked away again, and he faced serious charges from the United States. Yet the questions swirling around the program have never gone away. Today, Solar Warden remains one of the greatest mysteries of modern conspiracy theories. Is it merely an urban legend, spun from the imagination of a curious hacker? Or does there truly exist a secret military force defending Earth from the shadows of space? We may never know the answer for certain, but it is precisely this uncertainty and mystery that has made Solar Warden such a captivating story, fueling endless debate to this day. Astronaut madness procedures. Flying into space is one of humanity's greatest achievements, but few people realize just how much danger and immense pressure comes with the journey. Astronauts don't just have to deal with the harshness of the space environment, they also endure extreme isolation and psychological stress. And in the worst-case scenario, an astronaut can completely lose control, leading to unpredictable and potentially disastrous consequences. That's why NASA has always maintained procedures for handling even the most dangerous situations. One of the least known is the protocol for what to do when an astronaut suffers a mental breakdown, a set of guidelines officially known as the Astronaut Madness Procedures. This protocol was developed by NASA with one single purpose: to ensure the safety of the entire crew and the mission itself. According to NASA's official guidelines, if, during a spaceflight, an astronaut begins to lose control, acting irrationally, becoming agitated, or even threatening the safety of fellow astronauts or vital equipment, the rest of the crew is required to act quickly. The first step in this emergency procedure is to use special tape to restrain the out-of-control astronaut's hands and feet. It may sound primitive, but in the zero-gravity, confined conditions of space, tape is actually the most effective tool for quickly getting the situation under control. Once the astronaut has been safely restrained, the next step is for the remaining crew members to administer a special sedative. This is a medication specifically prepared for emergency use in space, designed to calm agitation, stabilize the person's mental state, and either bring the astronaut back to normal or, at the very least, keep them subdued until the crew can receive further instructions from Earth. This procedure may sound frightening and a bit extreme, but it's necessary. In space, even the smallest mistake can lead to disaster. The crew can't call for emergency services, and they certainly can't expect immediate help from the outside. They have no choice but to handle and control every situation themselves. In reality, NASA has never recorded a case where the astronaut madness procedure had to be used in its full severity, but the very existence of this protocol is a reminder of just how real the risks and psychological pressures are for astronauts every time they leave Earth. It shows us that conquering space requires not just courage and physical fitness, but also a level of mental strength most people can hardly imagine. In the end, the existence of these procedures raises bigger questions about the limits of the human mind. Are we truly ready to live in environments as unforgiving as outer space? And as we set our sights on longer missions, like a journey to Mars, are we prepared to face psychological challenges that humanity has never experienced before? Moon aliens and faked landing theory. In 1969, millions of people around the world watched as astronaut Neil Armstrong took those historic first steps onto the moon. It was a defining moment, a stunning victory for the United States in the space race against the Soviet Union. But not long after, questions began to surface. Did humanity really set foot on the moon? Or was it all just an elaborate show staged for the world to see? Over time, this conspiracy theory grew more elaborate, accumulating even more mysterious details. One of the most complex and intriguing variations is the idea that NASA really did make it to the moon, but when they arrived, they encountered hostile extraterrestrials who had already claimed it as their own. Believers in this theory argue that as soon as the Apollo astronauts landed, they were confronted by alien beings who did not welcome humanity's presence. These beings delivered a stern and unmistakable warning. Mankind was not to return to the moon. And this, the theory claims, is the real reason why, after Apollo 17 in 1972, NASA never launched another crewed mission to the moon for decades. But if NASA really did make it to the moon, why are there still allegations that some of the footage was faked? The theory offers a complicated but convincing answer. NASA had to stage certain scenes back on Earth in order to hide the truth about their dangerous encounter with aliens on the moon. In other words, NASA both succeeded in reaching the moon and at the same time had to create a safer version of the story to show the world. Supporters of this idea also claim to have concrete evidence, strange and mysterious structures on the lunar surface, visible in photos released by NASA itself. These images are said to have accidentally revealed traces of artificial constructions that could not possibly be of human origin. Some even claim that NASA's original photos were altered to cover up these bizarre anomalies. Naturally, NASA has always denied these claims, dismissing them as baseless conspiracy theories. But for many, NASA's explanations just aren't convincing enough. They believe the truth is far more complicated than anything that's been made public. Whether you believe in this theory or not, there's no denying that it remains one of the most controversial and fascinating conspiracies in the history of humanity's journey into space. The Lucifer Project. For years, there has been a widely circulated conspiracy theory claiming that NASA has secretly pursued an incredibly bold and dangerous plan to turn giant gas planets like Saturn or Jupiter into artificial suns. This chilling idea is known as the Lucifer Project. The roots of this conspiracy theory come from the belief that NASA intended to detonate a massive nuclear bomb on one of these gas giants, triggering a gigantic chain reaction inside the planet and causing it to ignite, just like a real star. It might sound like something straight out of a science fiction movie, but the truth is, many people genuinely believe it's possible. Supporters of this theory often point to one particular event as their clearest evidence. In 2003, NASA made the decision to crash the Galileo probe directly into Jupiter's atmosphere, officially ending a mission that had lasted over a decade. NASA explained that this move was meant to prevent Galileo from accidentally contaminating Jupiter's moon Europa with bacteria from Earth. But to believers in the Lucifer Project, this was simply a cover story. According to them, Galileo was actually equipped with nuclear material, and the impact was intended to spark a chain reaction to turn Jupiter into a second sun in our solar system. When this plan failed and the expected reaction never occurred, it's said that NASA quietly shifted its focus to Saturn instead. The next piece of evidence these theorists point to is a string of mysterious exploration missions to Saturn, especially the event in 2017 when the Cassini probe was sent crashing into Saturn's atmosphere. As with Galileo, NASA claimed this was to prevent contaminating Saturn's moons, but for followers of the conspiracy, this was yet another sign that NASA was still secretly pursuing the Lucifer Project. Of course, not everyone buys into the existence of such a bizarre plan. Many scientists have argued that turning a gas giant into a star is completely impossible, at least based on our current scientific understanding. They point out that the amount of energy and the technology required to trigger such a transformation are far beyond anything humanity can achieve today. But supporters of the Lucifer Project aren't swayed by scientific arguments. They believe NASA has long possessed secret technologies that go far beyond what the public knows. They claim NASA's close cooperation with the military and the CIA and the organization's strict secrecy over classified documents are all clear evidence that the agency is deliberately hiding the truth about its plans. Whether you believe in the existence of the Lucifer Project or not, this conspiracy theory remains a powerful example of the fascination surrounding the mysteries of space and the secretive activities of major organizations. Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate, ICC. When people think of corporations like Lockheed Martin or Northrop Grumman, they usually picture billion-dollar defense contracts, advanced fighter jets, or cutting-edge strategic weaponry. But within the conspiracy research community, these companies are believed to be operating a far more complex and mysterious organization known as the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate, or ICC. According to confidential sources, the ICC's operations go far beyond deals made on Earth. It's said that they conduct commercial transactions that stretch the imagination, buying and selling goods and technology with extraterrestrial civilizations. But you might wonder, what could humanity possibly have to trade with alien species that are supposedly light years ahead of us in technology? The answer, according to these stories, lies in our own technical abilities. Advanced technologies, ranging from state-of-the-art microprocessors, rare alloys, to breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, have become valuable commodities that the ICC uses as bargaining chips. It might sound unbelievable, but think of it as a high-tech trade exchange between civilizations, with humanity as a link in the cosmic supply chain. One of the strangest claims from insiders is that the ICC's main headquarters is not on Earth at all, but actually located at a massive base on Mars. This base is described as a closed industrial city, sprawling for hundreds of miles beneath the surface of the red planet and operated by thousands of people. Most of them, it's said, did not choose to be there. According to secret reports, the workforce running the ICC has been shipped to Mars since the 1980s through shady recruitment programs, with many subjected to forced labor. These individuals are not only cut off completely from the outside world, but even their descendants are allegedly forced to continue working as modern slaves deep in the heart of space. In 2015, another bizarre detail surfaced. A secret meeting, reportedly held by the Interplanetary Association in the UK, suddenly raised the topic of overthrowing a dictator on Mars. The information was quickly denied, but what's striking is how closely it matched earlier leaks about an ICC base ruled by a dictatorial regime. Why would a prestigious organization like the Interplanetary Association openly discuss such a far-fetched political plan if there was absolutely no truth to it? Is it possible that what sounds like wild imagination might contain a grain of reality? To this day, the ICC remains a major mystery, one that neither governments nor major corporations have ever officially acknowledged. But it is precisely this denial and absolute silence that makes people all the more suspicious and all the more curious. Dark Fleet. The story begins in the 1930s, a period when Adolf Hitler was not only pursuing global domination through military power, but was also deeply fascinated by mystical theories and the belief in extraterrestrial life. Under the Nazi regime, Secret organizations like the Thule Society and the Vril Society were constantly searching for sources of supernatural power, hoping to turn Nazi Germany into an invincible empire. Amid this shadowy backdrop, according to confidential sources within the UFO research community, an extraordinary event supposedly took place. The Nazis are said to have established contact with a particular extraterrestrial race known as the Draco. These were bizarre, reptilian-like beings originating from the distant Orion constellation. The Draco were believed to be more than just a typical alien civilization. They were thought to be ruled by an incredibly powerful artificial intelligence, one bent on expanding its dominion throughout the galaxy. The alliance between the Germans and the Draco reportedly led to the creation of the Dark Fleet, a formidable and mysterious space armada that is almost beyond human imagination. These massive ships, combining advanced German technology with the Draco's mysterious power, served the Draco's agenda of expansion and conquest. But among all these strange details, one big question has always lingered. If the Draco are truly so powerful, why have they never openly invaded Earth? A bizarre and hotly debated theory tries to answer this. Perhaps Adolf Hitler didn't end his life by suicide, but was eliminated because the Nazis and the Draco had stopped cooperating. In other words, Hitler and his power structure may have been removed after becoming a threat, or simply useless, to their alien partners. Still, these theories are riddled with contradictions and mysteries. How could an extraterrestrial civilization with interstellar travel and artificial intelligence possibly need help from humans? Why would they form a secret alliance with the Nazis instead of just taking over Earth themselves? These paradoxes only make the story of the Dark Fleet more fascinating, but also nearly impossible to verify. Maybe the Dark Fleet truly exists somewhere in the shadows of the cosmos. Or maybe it's all just legend, born from the imaginations of those enthralled by military and alien secrets. Where the truth lies, we may never know. Nuclear explosion on Mars, evidence of an ancient war. Stories about the mysteries of Mars have always captured the public's imagination, but recently, a number of independent researchers have put forward a shocking theory. They claim to have found evidence of ancient nuclear explosions on the surface of the red planet. If true, these explosions would be the clearest sign that Mars was once home to an advanced extraterrestrial civilization, a civilization that ultimately destroyed itself with the very weapons it had created. These researchers have spent years analyzing data and images collected by NASA's probes. They believe that this information has unintentionally revealed suspicious signs pointing to massive nuclear detonations in the planet's distant past. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence, they say, is the presence of xenon-129, a rare radioactive isotope found in unusually high concentrations on Mars. According to them, this is a clear indication that extremely powerful nuclear explosions once took place there. But that's not all. These researchers also claim to have found strange structures on the Martian surface, areas that appear to have been heavily damaged by a tremendous force, closely resembling the aftermath of nuclear explosions on Earth. These regions often display bizarre features like melted rock, deep craters, and even signs that the ground was exposed to extreme heat for a short period of time. But the greatest mystery of all is this: if such explosions really did happen, what caused them? The answer, they suggest, lies in the existence of an advanced Martian civilization, one that either destroyed itself or was destroyed by some other power through nuclear war. More controversially, they claim that NASA knows all about this, but has chosen to remain silent. Of course, not everyone agrees with this controversial theory. Most of the scientific community strongly rejects the idea of ancient nuclear explosions on Mars, arguing that the evidence is nothing more than speculation or scientific misunderstanding. They maintain that the presence of xenon-129, or the planet's unusual surface features, can easily be explained by natural events such as meteor impacts or geological processes that have taken place over time. Still, the theory continues to spread, captivating the imagination of space mystery enthusiasts everywhere. It raises a profound question. Could the true history of our solar system include cataclysmic disasters that humanity has yet to uncover? The secret Apollo 20, mission to the moon. The mysterious story of Apollo 20 begins back in the 1970s, right after NASA announced it was canceling the Apollo 18, Apollo 19, and Apollo 20 missions due to budget constraints. But many believe this was nothing more than a cover for a much larger plan. According to the theory, Apollo 20 was actually a top-secret mission, a collaboration between the United States and the Soviet Union, two nations that had been bitter rivals in the space race. And the goal of this mission was anything but ordinary. Its purpose was to investigate an alleged alien spacecraft that had crashed on the surface of the moon long ago. The origins of this strange story trace back to photographs of the moon taken during the Apollo 15 mission, released by NASA in the early 1970s. In those images, a long, cylindrical object resembling a spacecraft seems to lie silently on the lunar surface. At first, NASA explained that it was simply a natural formation, but that explanation didn't convince everyone. According to a man named William Rutledge, who claimed to have been an astronaut on Apollo 20, the secret mission took place in 1976. Rutledge stated that the Apollo 20 crew included both American and Soviet astronauts, and that they landed on the far side of the moon to approach the strange object. Once inside, the crew allegedly found things far beyond their wildest imagination. Rutledge claimed that inside the alien ship, they discovered the remains of humanoid beings, not quite human, the most notable of which was a body nicknamed Mona Lisa. This figure was said to be remarkably well preserved, with a mysterious appearance that was both captivating and unsettling. Rutledge didn't stop there. He also provided a series of videos and photos supposedly taken inside the alien spacecraft, which only added to the believers' conviction. These images spread widely across the internet and have been at the center of heated debate for years. However, the scientific community and NASA have always completely dismissed the story. They insist that Apollo 20 never happened and that Rutledge's photos and videos are nothing more than staged fabrications created with digital editing. NASA has further explained that the Apollo missions were canceled purely for financial reasons and that there were no secret missions carried out beyond what was publicly disclosed. Even so, not everyone is convinced by the official explanations. Many people still question why, if there was really nothing to hide, those strange images of the lunar surface have never been satisfactorily explained by NASA, and why does the story of Apollo 20 continue to spread despite repeated denials? Some conspiracy theorists believe that NASA kept Apollo 20 a secret to avoid public panic over the existence of alien civilizations. Others suspect that it may have been a top-secret military project with the alien spaceship story used as a convenient distraction. The truth is, no one really knows for sure whether the story of Apollo 20 is fact or simply an elaborate hoax. But one thing is certain, this strange tale continues to attract attention and spark debate. It remains one of the most intriguing mysteries in the history of space exploration, constantly forcing us to wonder whether we really know everything that's happening on the moon. Global Galactic League of Nations. Directly inspired by the historical League of Nations, the forerunner of today's United Nations, the Global Galactic League of Nations is rumored to be a secret international council where leaders of the world's most powerful countries meet to address issues that seem straight out of science fiction, unidentified flying objects, or as they're more widely known, UFOs. According to the story, this alliance took shape in the early 20th century, rising to prominence during and after World War II, when UFO sightings began to occur with increasing frequency. The mission of this organization was simple and clear. Whenever a UFO landed or crashed on Earth, members of the League would quickly coordinate to secure and share information about these mysterious extraterrestrial technologies. The inner workings of this extraordinary alliance have been described in some detail. Whenever a UFO was discovered within a member nation's territory, it would be rapidly transferred either to the United States or the Soviet Union. From there, the two superpowers would conduct their own research, but always kept a covert channel open for sharing information, regardless of how fiercely they appeared to oppose each other in the public eye. The most important members of this league were said to be the United States, the Soviet Union, Germany, China, and several other countries whose identities remain undisclosed. Perhaps the most fascinating detail dates back to World War II, when Nazi Germany was rumored to have recovered a mysterious UFO in the remote Himalayas. Around the same time, Soviet leader Joseph Stalin was said to have overseen the retrieval of an unidentified flying object in Siberia, sparking his own keen interest in alien technology. The story only grew stranger during the Cold War. While the US and the Soviet Union maintained a facade of bitter rivalry for the world to see, behind closed doors, they reportedly worked closely together on UFO research, making sure no single nation would pull ahead in the race and collaborating to address threats from possible extraterrestrial civilizations. But as the Soviet Union dissolved in 1991, a major question emerged. Did Russia retain its place in this mysterious league? Did the collapse of the USSR disrupt the secret balance of power within the global Galactic League of Nations? No one can say for certain. Since the end of the Cold War, information about this alleged alliance has grown scarce and even harder to verify. All that remains are leaked rumors, vague statements from retired military officials, and ambiguous claims from former scientists. Does the League still exist, quietly operating in the shadows to keep the existence of other civilizations hidden from humanity? Or is this just another story spun by conspiracy theorists trying to explain mysteries that defy ordinary explanation? Earth Alliance. Earth Alliance, a familiar name that's appeared in countless popular movies, most notably in the classic sci-fi series Babylon 5. In these films, the Earth Alliance is always depicted as a force uniting humanity against alien invaders. But what if this wasn't just a random bit of fiction? What if everything we see on the screen is actually a way for those in power to blur the line between fantasy and reality, to hide the truth in plain sight? According to conspiracy theorists, the Earth Alliance is very real. Bringing this organization into movies and books, they say, is actually a sophisticated psychological operation meant to conceal their true activities from the public eye. This alliance is believed to be quietly fighting humanity's two greatest enemies, the mysterious Illuminati, manipulating the world from the shadows, and the Draco, a reptilian alien race allegedly allied with the Nazis during World War II. One of the most shocking claims about the Earth Alliance comes from unofficial reports that they have intervened directly in global politics. Most notably, the 2016 US presidential election. Secret sources claim that the alliance covertly supported Donald Trump's rise to power with a clear goal: to use his authority to attack and dismantle the secret bases of both the Illuminati and the Draco. Right after Trump entered the White House, an unprecedented covert operation was launched. Anonymous witnesses allege that, during Trump's presidency, the Earth Alliance conducted a series of secret strikes to destroy or disable underground bases, long used by the Draco and Illuminati to manipulate and influence governments worldwide. These fierce battles played out far from public view, known only through underground channels and hidden reports. The climax of this campaign came when a Draco fleet decided to abandon Earth, retreating after their key bases were destroyed. The Earth Alliance immediately deployed advanced warships, using cutting-edge weapons to attack and destroy most of the Draco ships as they tried to escape Earth's orbit. This detail sounds like something straight out of a blockbuster movie, but secret sources insist that it really happened and that it was covered up using fabricated astronomical events or satellite accidents. While none of these stories can be confirmed by official sources, the existence of the Earth Alliance remains a core belief among conspiracy theorists. They claim the alliance is still out there, actively working day and night to protect humanity from dark forces beyond our world. So does the Earth Alliance really exist? Or is it all just a work of fiction designed to soothe our curiosity about things we can't explain? It's a mystery that may never have a clear answer, but one thing is certain. The story of the Earth Alliance continues to capture the imagination and curiosity of generation after generation. Operation Paperclip. As World War II drew to a close in 1945, a large number of Nazi scientists suddenly found themselves out of work. These were the masterminds behind Hitler's vast war machine, now blacklisted by the entire world. Some fled to Sweden, England, or other neutral countries to avoid prosecution for war crimes. But strangely, while the rest of the world viewed them as war criminals, the US government had a completely different plan, a controversial project called Operation Paperclip. This top-secret initiative, run by American intelligence, aimed to recruit the top minds from Nazi Germany, many of whom had developed devastating weapons like the V-2 rocket. The goal for the US was simple: harness their intellect and experience to gain an edge over the Soviet Union. One of the most prominent names recruited by this program was Wernher von Braun, a brilliant but also notorious scientist. Von Braun had been in charge of the Nazi rocket program and was directly responsible for the infamous V-2 missile. Yet after being brought to America, he quickly became one of the most influential figures at NASA. There, von Braun not only played a key role in the space race against the Soviets, but also led landmark projects like the Saturn V rocket, the very rocket that carried humanity to the moon for the first time. While these scientists brought immense success to the United States, the recruitment of Nazi scientists sparked serious ethical questions. Many wondered, did America have the right to overlook the bloody pasts of these individuals simply to advance national interests? Can scientific achievements ever erase the historical responsibility these scientists once bore? When Operation Paperclip was finally made public, it immediately ignited fierce debate. Critics argued that the US government had betrayed its core moral values by employing people who had served one of the most brutal regimes in history. Meanwhile, supporters believed it was a necessary move because in a world defined by competition, gaining a strategic advantage was all that mattered. Over time, the controversy has only grown, especially as more secrets about these scientists' pasts have come to light. Another notable case is Hubertus Strughold, known as the father of space medicine. He was later accused of being involved in inhumane human experiments during World War II. This, in turn, raised another uncomfortable question. Did America pay too high a moral price for the scientific achievements it gained in the space race? Today, as we look back on Operation Paperclip, it's hard to escape a sense of unease and contradiction. No one can deny the remarkable contributions that Nazi scientists made to America, but the questions of ethics and historical responsibility continue to linger. The Martian Massacre. According to believers in this conspiracy theory, Mars was once the site of a brutal battlefield between at least two highly advanced extraterrestrial civilizations. This wasn't an ordinary war. It was a cataclysm fought with the most powerful nuclear weapons imaginable, leading to the total destruction of the civilizations that once thrived there. Those who subscribe to this theory claim that NASA has known about this horrifying truth for a long time, but has always worked to keep it hidden from the public. They say they have spent years poring over the images NASA has captured of the Martian surface, insisting these photos contain clear evidence of an ancient nuclear catastrophe. More specifically, theorists claim they have found images of mysteriously destroyed structures and regions scarred by enormous explosions. Some amateur observers even state that they can plainly see massive craters on the surface, marks that could only have been created by the detonation of powerful nuclear devices high above Mars's atmosphere. Digging even deeper, these theorists insist that the terrible war was fought between two Martian civilizations, one called Cydonia and the other known as Utopia. According to believers, both civilizations were once connected to the ancient cultures of Earth. In fact, they claim that the technology of these Martian societies matched, or even surpassed, that of Egypt during its greatest era. One reason this theory remains so controversial is that the traces of the war are said to be growing harder to identify. Over time, constant meteor impacts on Mars have gradually erased the evidence that might have been left behind. With each passing year, what little proof there is of this ancient planetary war fades further from sight. Even so, many remain convinced that NASA is deliberately hiding the truth from the public. For them, NASA's persistent denials and dismissals only add fuel to the fire, deepening their doubts about the agency's transparency and honesty. The Black Knight satellite, a 13,000-year-old alien artifact? For as long as humanity has looked to the stars, we've searched for signs of life beyond our own world. But what if those signs are much closer than we ever imagined? Some believe that an ancient extraterrestrial satellite known as the Black Knight has been silently orbiting the Earth for a very long time, possibly as far back as 13,000 years ago. The story of this mysterious satellite is hardly new. The first reports of a strange object circling the Earth date all the way back to the early 20th century, long before humanity ever launched its first satellite into space. But it wasn't until 1954 that the story began to gain traction in scientific and military circles, when official reports surfaced that the US Air Force had detected a mysterious object orbiting the planet. The mystery deepened in 1960 when American radar stations tracked a strange satellite in a polar orbit, something humans at that time weren't yet capable of achieving. The object's orbit was so stable and its movements so unusual that no one could explain it using the technology of that era. NASA was quick to explain that what became known as the Black Knight was, in fact, just space debris left over from earlier missions, an abandoned satellite or rocket stage, for example. But conspiracy theorists refused to accept that answer. They argued that NASA was deliberately hiding the truth, that the Black Knight was not of human origin, but was actually an alien satellite placed in Earth's orbit to monitor our planet over the millennia. What makes the story even more intriguing is the strange radio signals detected by Nikola Tesla in 1899 during his experiments at Colorado Springs. Tesla was convinced he had received radio transmissions from space, signals that seemed to come from an intelligent source. Believers in the Black Knight theory suggest that the signals Tesla picked up may well have come from this very ancient satellite. The debate heated up again in 1998 when the Space Shuttle Endeavour photographed a dark, oddly shaped object drifting in orbit. Once again, NASA insisted it was just a piece of thermal insulation that had come loose from the shuttle. But many people still believe that the photo is the clearest proof yet of the existence of this ancient alien satellite. If the Black Knight really is an alien artifact that's been orbiting Earth for 13,000 years, then who put it there, and for what purpose? Was it meant to be some kind of monitoring device, or an ancient communications relay left behind by a civilization that visited Earth long before humans ever took their first steps into space? Mars Defense Force. The concept of the Mars Defense Force sounds like a detail pulled straight out of a science fiction novel. According to stories from those who claimed to be insiders, the Mars Defense Force is a secret, multinational military force established with the special mission of protecting 5 large colonies built on the surface of Mars. These are not just simple scientific research stations, but complex underground cities where people live and work just as they do on Earth. The main goal of the Mars Defense Force is to protect the inhabitants of Mars from 2 formidable threats. The first is the so-called native Martians, described as an ancient civilization that has existed for a long time and is somewhat hostile toward humanity. The second is other alien species that also have unclear ambitions regarding Mars and even Earth. A soldier who once served 17 years in this defense force has revealed some astonishing details. According to his account, the Martian colonies are not merely cold military bases. In reality, they have a full, complex ecosystem, including trees, water sources, and even animals. Besides that, these cities also have clear social classes, from the powerful elite to the working class, almost like a miniature version of human society. But the story grows even stranger, with details that seem almost impossible to believe. According to this person, after completing a 20-year mission on Mars, the members of the Mars Defense Force would be brought back to the past, their memories erased, their bodies rejuvenated, and finally returned to a normal life on Earth. This sounds more like a scene from a Hollywood movie than an actual military program. The detail about time travel is particularly controversial. If there really exists a technology powerful enough to bring people back to the past and make them young again, why has it never appeared in the real world we live in? Why would such advanced and mighty technology be used only in secret on Mars? These questions only deepen the mystery surrounding the Mars Defense Force. Is the entire story just some kind of psychological operation intended to create confusion, or is there truly a secret world where humanity has not only conquered other planets, but conquered time itself? Red Space Project, the secret mission to Mars. The dream of conquering Mars is hardly a new one. From the very dawn of the space age, the Red Planet has always been the most ambitious and captivating goal for NASA and many other space agencies. According to conspiracy theorists, NASA secretly sent the first crews to Mars decades ago, as early as the 1970s and 1980s. They argue that during the peak of the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union, NASA carried out an ultra-secret program, one that went far beyond anything the public ever knew. This program, known as the Red Space Project, was said to have aimed at establishing a hidden base, or at least conducting direct manned research on the Martian surface. It sounds like the plot of a Hollywood movie, but is there any reason to believe in such a bold theory? Supporters of this idea point to several curious pieces of evidence. They claim that NASA has long possessed technologies and capabilities far beyond what has been revealed to the public. For example, in declassified documents from the Cold War era, there are detailed plans for military space stations and secret spacecraft powerful enough to send people to distant places in the solar system. Not only that, some former NASA employees have hinted at the existence of such missions. They tell of secret experimental programs carried out at remote desert bases in Nevada and Utah, where NASA built facilities that perfectly simulated the Martian environment. Some conspiracy theorists believe that these places were not only for training, but actually served as the launch points for secret flights. One prominent witness for this theory is former U.S. military officer Randy Kramer, who once claimed he was part of a secret Mars program for nearly 20 years. According to his account, this project had been active for a long time, with bases built beneath the Martian surface to stay hidden from Earth's observation. Additionally, those who support this theory also point to strange photographs sent back by Mars probes showing mysterious structures or objects on the surface of the red planet. They believe these are traces of human-built bases hidden from public view. However, the scientific community does not agree with this theory. They argue that with current technology, and even that of decades past, carrying out a manned Mars mission without being detected would be nearly impossible. Such a flight would require immense resources and painstaking preparation. Moreover, the photos and videos cited as evidence can be explained by natural phenomena or simply by visual illusions. Yet many people still believe that NASA could have kept such a massive mission secret for a long time. After all, during the Cold War, the idea of keeping an enormous space program completely secret wasn't all that far-fetched. To this day, the story of the Red Space Project remains one of the most intriguing and controversial conspiracy theories linked to NASA. If those who believe in it are right, it means humanity set foot on Mars long ago and may still be carrying out secret activities there, completely unknown to the public. But if it's not true, then why do stories like this continue to exist and draw so much attention? Perhaps it's because Mars itself is still a mysterious planet, full of unanswered questions that humanity has yet to solve. Will there ever come a day when the truth about the Red Space Project is finally revealed? Discovery of microbial life on Mars, but covered up. In 1976, NASA launched two famous probes, Viking 1 and Viking 2, to Mars. The official mission of the Viking landers was to search for signs of life on the red planet. These spacecraft carried equipment that was considered advanced for their time, with the ability to conduct biological experiments right on the Martian surface. But the results from these experiments remain a subject of controversy to this day. At first, NASA announced that the Viking biological experiments had found no evidence of life. However, in recent years, many scientists who once worked at NASA have spoken out, suggesting that the truth might be entirely different. According to Dr. Gilbert Levin, the scientist directly responsible for the Viking biological experiments, the results sent back in 1976 actually proved beyond doubt that living microorganisms existed right on the surface of Mars. Levin explained that the experiment known as the labeled release experiment, which he designed, produced a very clear positive result. The Martian soil samples reacted in a way that only living microorganisms could create. Yet, NASA publicly declared that the results of these experiments were inconclusive, explaining that complex chemical reactions in Martian soil were the true cause. For decades after, NASA never changed this position, despite mounting scientific evidence and debates, even from the very researchers who conducted the experiments. Those who believe in conspiracy theories claim that NASA deliberately covered up the truth, fearing that information about the existence of extraterrestrial life might cause panic and global chaos. Some analysts even suspect that, had NASA announced such a discovery at the time, the political, social, and even religious consequences could have been unimaginable. It's not just Levin. Many other scientists also believe that NASA was too cautious, or may even have intentionally suppressed this information for reasons the public will never truly know. They argue that government agencies could have decided to keep it secret to avoid the controversies and complications that would arise from officially confirming life beyond Earth for the first time in human history. But if this is true, why does NASA continue to send new missions to Mars in search of life when they may have known the answer all along? Perhaps NASA wants to gradually prepare public opinion before revealing such a monumental secret, or maybe they want to confirm the results in the most careful way possible before making any official announcement. To this day, the story of the Viking probes and the mystery of microbial life on Mars remains one of the most debated topics in the history of space exploration. NASA has never officially changed its original conclusion, but at the same time, they have never completely dismissed the evidence provided by their own scientists. This makes the mystery even more complicated, and it draws more public attention than ever before. Did the Hubble Telescope ever capture artificial structures in space? Since its launch into orbit in 1990, the Hubble Telescope has become humanity's most trusted eye, gazing out into the vast universe. The hundreds of thousands of images Hubble has sent back have completely changed our understanding of the cosmos, opening up new horizons for science. However, not every photo has a clear explanation, and sometimes it's the most mysterious images that spark the most controversy. Over the years, the internet has circulated a number of images said to be taken by Hubble, showing objects or structures that seem utterly strange. Some of these photos have left people astonished when they noticed perfectly straight lines, geometric shapes, or even patterns that appear so orderly. It's hard to believe they could be formed by nature alone. There have even been images shared online with captions like "alien city," "giant space station," or "traces of a distant civilization." For those who believe in the existence of intelligence beyond Earth, these photos are seen as the strongest evidence yet for the idea that space is not just filled with lonely stars, but also home to other civilizations, ones that may have built colossal artificial structures out there. Stories about megastructures, Dyson spheres, or alien space stations constantly appear on forums and social media, drawing millions of views and sparking lively debate every time. However, NASA and the scientific community have always responded clearly. They completely deny that Hubble has ever photographed any evidence of artificial structures in outer space. Experts say that these widely circulated images are mostly the result of optical phenomena, image noise, or sometimes just the product of human imagination, people naturally seeing familiar shapes in the swirling clouds and shadows of space. According to scientists, Hubble operates in an extremely complex environment, and at times, cosmic rays, dust particles, or even small errors in the sensor system can create bright spots, lines, or strange shapes in the pictures. Some images have even been cropped, edited, or mislabeled before spreading online, making them seem more mysterious than they really are. Even so, not everyone is satisfied with these explanations. Many people believe that NASA has covered up or deliberately blurred the truth to avoid causing panic or shaking humanity's long-held beliefs about Earth's unique position in the universe. They ask, if there's really nothing there, why do these images so often disappear, get explained away quickly, or, in some cases, lead NASA to remove related data entirely? Some conspiracy theorists suggest that somewhere in a dark corner of the universe, there truly are giant structures, possibly built by an advanced civilization, and that scientists simply aren't ready to reveal them to the world. The reality is, up to now, there's no official evidence confirming that Hubble has ever captured artificial structures in space. But the fascination and staying power of these rumors never seem to fade. Perhaps it's the sense that the universe is still filled with mysteries we can't explain that keeps people asking questions about our true place in the endless expanse above. Will the day ever come when NASA is forced to reveal the truth if undeniable proof finally comes to light? Or will everything remain as unanswered questions, just like so many other secrets the universe still keeps hidden? The mysterious sounds phenomenon in space. Since the earliest days of space exploration, astronauts have at times reported hearing sounds they simply couldn't explain. In 1969, as the Apollo 10 crew orbited the moon, they described experiencing what they called space music, a sequence of prolonged sounds, sometimes rumbling like wind, other times echoing as strange, unidentifiable notes. These recordings were kept secret by NASA for decades before eventually being released to the public, causing quite a stir in the scientific community and beyond. Apollo 10 wasn't alone. Many astronauts, from the United States to Russia, have described hearing strange noises while on board space stations or out in the void. Some reported rhythmic knocking sounds coming from outside the spacecraft, even when they were surrounded by nothing but the cold darkness of space. A number of Chinese astronauts have also recounted mysterious knocking noises while working on the Shenzhou spacecraft. NASA experts usually explain that these sounds could be caused by metal contracting and expanding due to extreme temperature differences, by equipment inside the spacecraft, or even by illusions brought on by stress and prolonged isolation. Some have compared the phenomenon to ringing in the ears, a physiological reaction that can occur in low gravity and enclosed environments. Still, not everyone is convinced by these explanations. Many believe that not all of the sounds can be so easily dismissed. In particular, the eerie musical recordings from Apollo 10's trip around the moon remain unexplained to this day. No one has been able to pinpoint their source. Some conspiracy theorists argue that these noises are in fact signals or messages deliberately sent to humanity by extraterrestrial civilizations. Could it be that someone or something out there is trying to reach us and we just haven't learned how to interpret the message? Perhaps what makes this story even more intriguing is that NASA and other space agencies have always been very tight-lipped about these strange audio events. When asked, they tend to offer vague responses or sidestep the topic entirely, leading many to suspect that something is being concealed. If these signals really are messages from another civilization, is humanity truly ready to face that reality? Of course, it's also possible that all of this is simply the result of the human mind grappling with extreme isolation and pressure. When faced with absolute silence, the brain sometimes invents strange sounds to fill the void. Whatever the reason, the mysterious sounds of space remain one of the most fascinating and puzzling phenomena in the history of space exploration. We may not yet know their true origin, but stories like these always remind us that out there, beyond our world, countless wonders still await discovery. Will there come a day when we finally understand and decipher those sounds, or will the secret of space music forever remain a reminder of our smallness and our endless curiosity amidst the vastness of the universe? NASA and the HARP Weather Control Project. In the early 1990s, the HARP project, short for High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, was first established in a remote part of Alaska. This program was initially funded by the United States Air Force, the United States Navy, and DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, with the official goal of studying Earth's ionosphere, a layer of the atmosphere high above the planet's surface. According to the US government, HAARP was designed to study the effects of radio waves on the ionosphere, to improve radio communication and satellite navigation, and to better understand the beautiful but mysterious phenomenon of the Northern Lights. The project consisted of hundreds of massive antennas, forming a powerful network capable of sending concentrated radio waves directly into the ionosphere. However, the true purpose of HAARP has always been shrouded in suspicion. Very quickly, many people pointed out that the project wasn't as simple as the government claimed. Some conspiracy theorists believe that NASA and the US government used HARP as a secret tool to control the weather, creating artificial disasters like hurricanes, earthquakes, and even tsunamis for military or political purposes. The first doubts began to appear in the late 1990s, when more and more people started noticing unusual weather phenomena in areas associated with HAARP activity. One of the major events conspiracy theorists focus on is the 2011 earthquake and tsunami in Japan. They claim that radio waves from HAARP interfered with the ionosphere and directly affected the Earth's crust, triggering earthquakes. Although the US government has always denied these suspicions, many people still believe there is a secret connection between HARP and NASA, especially since NASA is often seen as the leader of secret scientific projects. Supporters of this theory insist that HAARP can emit electromagnetic waves so powerful they can manipulate atmospheric systems, create giant storms, or alter local climates with ease. There is even a darker theory suggesting that HAARP is a kind of weather weapon developed for use in future warfare. Conspiracy theorists argue that if the US government can control the weather, they could attack any country without firing a single bullet, simply by unleashing devastating natural disasters from afar and blaming it all on Mother Nature. But is there any scientific basis for these suspicions? Most scientists and experts around the world have spoken out against the idea that HAARP could influence weather on the massive scale that conspiracy theories suggest. They point out that the amount of radio wave energy HARP generates is nowhere near enough to cause extreme weather events like hurricanes or earthquakes. In reality, no matter how powerful, HARP's energy output is tiny compared to the natural forces needed to create a storm or an earthquake. So why do these suspicions persist? Perhaps it's because the project itself has always been wrapped in secrecy. Even after HARP was handed over to the University of Alaska Fairbanks in 2015 and became more open to the public, many people remained skeptical about its true objectives. What's more, severe natural disasters seem to be happening more and more frequently, fueling the belief that human hands might be at work. Evidence or not, HARP has become a symbol of public suspicion toward the secret scientific research programs run by governments. In an age when technology is advancing faster than ever, it's not surprising that people wonder if we are getting too close to limits that once seemed like the stuff of dreams or even nightmares. The truth behind HARP's real purpose remains an unsolved mystery. Is it merely a scientific research tool, or a potential climate weapon hidden behind an innocent facade? Maybe we'll never know the real answer, but one thing is certain: HARP will continue to attract curiosity, debate, and deep concerns about the future. If you enjoyed this story and want to explore more fascinating mysteries, feel free to leave a comment or send your suggestions using the link below the video description. And don't forget, you can also listen to our audio version on your favorite podcast platforms. Astronauts witness space angels. This extraordinary event took place in 1984 aboard the Soviet space station Salyut 7, one of the earliest space stations in history. At the time, the astronauts were going about their daily routines in complete normalcy, but then something unusual began to happen when they suddenly noticed a strange light outside the station's window. According to the astronauts, this light was unlike anything they had ever seen before. It shone brightly, emitting a soft, golden-orange glow, and when they looked closer, they discovered enormous humanoid figures floating in the void just outside the station. These entities looked remarkably like the traditional images of angels we often see in paintings and sculptures, with vast wings and a mysterious ethereal light radiating from their entire bodies. The astronauts were absolutely stunned. They stood there, unable to take their eyes off these space angels, and later recalled that the beings even smiled at them in a friendly way, as if trying to communicate somehow. The cosmonauts immediately reported the mysterious phenomenon back to Earth, but of course, those on the ground could do little more than listen in stunned silence to such an unbelievable account. Not long after, a new group of astronauts was sent up to replace the crew on Salyut 7, and they too encountered the same phenomenon. According to reports, this second time, not just one or two, but every astronaut aboard the station witnessed these mysterious beings. This time, the cosmonauts described the angels as even larger and more distinct, with bodies estimated to be dozens of meters long, radiating a gentle but incredibly vivid light. The story of the Angels of Light aboard Salyut 7 quickly spread around the world, sparking countless debates. Believers in extraterrestrial life immediately saw this as clear evidence that we are not alone in the universe. They believe that higher beings are watching over and protecting humanity in mysterious ways. However, skeptics argue that this might be the result of prolonged psychological stress or hallucinations caused by the harsh conditions of space. But this explanation seems less convincing when not just one, but several astronauts on separate missions all reported witnessing the same event, with strikingly similar details. Another notable point in this story is the indirect connection between NASA and the Soviet space program at that time. Even though the two nations were rivals in the Cold War, experts confirm that NASA was aware of this strange event through internal information channels. Some even believe that NASA had access to detailed reports and photographs, but chose to remain completely silent on the matter. This has led many to ask, if NASA really knew about these mysterious entities, why didn't they share the information with the public? Is there something much bigger and more important hiding behind this veil of secrecy? Those questions still linger to this day. The scientific community has never been able to provide a satisfactory explanation for what the Soviet astronauts experienced in 1984. The Space Angels event remains one of the strangest stories in the history of space exploration and stands as a vivid reminder that space is still filled with mysteries humanity has yet to unravel. Were the beings seen by the astronauts truly extraterrestrials trying to reach out to us, or simply a unique case of collective hallucination? And why has NASA kept silent about this strange story for so many decades? Perhaps we will never know the true answers to these questions. Even so, this event keeps us wondering just how many secrets hidden in the endless darkness of the universe are still waiting to be discovered. If you found today's story fascinating, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any other thrilling mysteries in our upcoming videos. See you next time.